I wanted to create a video talking to you about the Stat 10 co-requisite for the course. And so it's mentioned here that you've chosen to take it with the Stat 10 co-requisite, and it's designed to refresh and develop computational skills that are necessary in our course, and those concepts have been interwoven throughout our Stat 300 course. And so if you read the syllabus describes how we're going to get at the Stat 10 co-requisite. And how that's going to take place is by what's called skills review assignments. There's actually two types of skills review assignments, and there's two ways to access them. I'm going to show you through the assignments tab. If you click on that, things are organized. I'm going to have you do some weekly check-ins, but let me come down here for the Stat 10 requirements. So the Stat 10 requirements are here in this category, and they consist of skills reviews skills reviews and checks for each of the chapters that we're going to be doing, with the exception of Chapter 1 and Chapter 10. We have one section out of Chapter 10, so there is really no reason to do that. But I don't have one for Chapter 1 either. So they have specific due dates. This Chapter 2 skills check and review need to be completed by August 30th. The Chapter 3 by September 6th, so forth and so on. And they're tied to the beginning of each one of those initial chapters. And what they should be are foundational skills that you probably already are coming in with. And so this is a great way to access them, but another good way to access them is in the modules. So you can see during our first week of class, we're going to be starting Chapter 1, and there's some associated homework due by August 27th. And then I put the Chapter 2 skills review right at the beginning of Chapter 2. And the Chapter 3 right at the beginning of Chapter 3. Now notice their due dates are a little bit out, right? Because you need time to do them. But this is also a good way to do the skills checks and reviews as well. And so they should be done in that order. You want to do the skills check before you do the skills review. In fact, I don't think the system will allow you to do the review until you've done the check. Now the check is doing exactly what its name implies. It's checking to see if you already know the skills. And if you do, it gives you full credit for the skills review. If it feels like you're lacking one of the skills, it creates some homework problems in the Chapter 2 skills review for you to do. So it's not going to be 24 problems necessarily. In fact, it should be dramatically less, depending upon how you do on the skills check. So when you're ready to do the skills check, let me show you what that's like. You're going to click on the skills check, and it's going to call it a test because it's testing to see if you have these skills. Now, you have an unlimited amount of attempts between now and August 30th, but essentially whatever you do here will feed the review assignment, and just do the review assignment and get it done. So when you're ready to start, you're going to start the skills check, and it's going to ask you a question. A student answered 83 out of 100 questions correct on the first try. What percent of the homework questions were answered correctly? So maybe you already know that this is 83%. And you're like, that's a crazy question. Well, great. Answer that crazy question and go forward. Write the decimal number as a percentage. Okay. If I want to write that as a percentage, maybe you remember you moved the decimal point over twice. Maybe you don't remember and you do a little bit of review and you answer the question. Now, it's not going to tell you whether you have it right or wrong. Select the correct choice below, and if necessary, fill in the answer box to complete your choice. So let's see. So the quotient is undefined, or the quotient is something. Well, something divided by itself is 1, and you'll click next. And you're answering all of these questions pretty quickly. And then this is a simplified fraction. I do know that it's 76 over 100. 76 divided by 2 is 37 divided by 50, right? And if you're good with this, that's great. If not, they'll create a skills review check in which you can practice more, and they'll have some instruction there. Round the number to the nearest 10. And so the tens place is where the 7 is. So I guess they want 46,909,680. And we go next. And we're just going to go through and do this. When we're done, we submit the test. And then it creates that. Now let's suppose You leave, your computer shuts down. I'm not going to do anything special. I'm just going to go to a different screen. So I'm going to go home. And it says changes may not be saved, but let me just leave because I'm not ready to submit my test. And let me just come back to it. Let me go to assignments this way and say, you know what, I was working on that chapter 2 skills check. And let's see if it remembers what I was able to do. Finish the test. Okay, so it knows that I started it. And so if we come in here and we start looking at the questions, look at this. All my answers are here. All the ones that I've already committed to. And I could change them and all of that. So there's no magic save button. So practice questions of a textbook are marked with difficulty of easy, intermediate, and difficult. If 36 of the 137 practice questions are rated as intermediate, approximately what percentage? Round to the nearest whole percent. So I'm going to grab a calculator really quick and take 36 and divide by 137. And look at 0.262. So I'm going to say 26%. And this is what you're doing in order to complete this. 4 divided by 11, round to the nearest hundredth as needed. And so this does go out to the hundredth. So this would be 36.36%. And then I get a little bit worried that maybe on question 6, I didn't round to the nearest whole percent. Okay, good. So it was whole percent. This one's to the nearest hundredth as needed. 59% of 9, or so 0.58 of 9 is type as an integer or decimal. 5.22 is the answer there. And so if you knew how to do this, that's great. My point in showing this to you is that this is what you do first, and it should be review skills. And then once you submit it, if I try to submit right now, it's going to say, hey, you didn't complete the whole thing. Are you sure you want to do it? But once it's submitted, then if I go back to assignments, then for some students, they will have full credit automatically given to the skills review because they showed they knew all the skills. For others, they'll have some questions to answer in the skills review, and you just answer those. They're like homework. You can come back to them. It just needs to all be completed by the 30th, and what we're looking for is that you get 70% or better as an average on the assignments. So it usually is not a problem at all. In fact, it's very rare that somebody does not pass a Stat 10 course. And it will be, and I think in every case it was that they just didn't do it. And so I didn't know how to motivate them to do it, but they didn't do it. But it was very, very, very rare in the past few semesters where I've been doing this online. So I just wanted to make a video so you knew what that environment was like. Grateful that you're in this class. Please reach out with questions or concerns that you have. But again, remember, all this is viewable if you've registered for My Math Lab first. All right, take care.